Today we're going to do a little mending, darning of the sock. These days, in this disposable society, usually when people wear a hole in their sock, they're ready to just toss it in the trash. But if you have a sock or a pair of socks that you're particularly fond of, you might want to darn them. I'm going to see if I've got some embroidery thread that closely matches the color of this sock. We'll set that there. That's an embroidery needle and a thimble because I'm going to use a thimble. Alrighty. That's pretty close. I think that's going to be about as close as I've got. As some of you may know that I have moved in the last few months out of the house that I've been living in since I moved to Fort Worth into the home with Mr. Bowers. So a lot of my possessions are in storage. I have an egg that I usually use for this, but it's in a box in storage. So we're going to use this light bulb. This isn't exactly the shape of light bulb I would have preferred, but it's a light bulb and it's round and we can use it. So I'm going to put it inside the sock right up to where the worn through place is. And let's see here. I think I'll divide this. This is a 6-strand embroidery floss. Put my big glasses on. See a little bit better. I'm going to divide this out into 3 strands. So kind of untwist it a little bit and slip my fingernail through here. Okay, so there's 2. I need to move one over to the 2, so it'll be 3 and 3 right there. Alrighty. As you separate the strands, the thread will want to twist, so you'll want to work to keep it from twisting up on itself and getting knotted. All right. They get a little twisted up when you separate them. Okay, we'll leave that one aside for here in a little bit. I'll take the needle and I will gently fold the end of the thread over the end of the needle to give it a little bit of a crease, and that often makes it easier to slip the needle onto the thread. Okay. Then we need to knot the other end. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth a little bit, and then we're going to go back and forth the other way, kind of weave this spot. going to start out beyond where the hole is. Now we're kind of worn here also, so we're going to come back a little bit, go beyond the worn area. Now it's worn right up all the way up to here, so we're gonna continue this process way up this way. Turns out I like this light bulb for darning better than I thought I would. It's got that nice flat rounded shape on top. It's an LED bulb, so it's got a little heft down in the part where it screws in, but it's got a plastic cover on it, so I don't worry about it breaking. Also, it's less top heavy than other darning eggs I've used before. Okay, before we start weaving back, I'm going to make a knot here. There. And then we'll come back through the work and weave back and forth through the threads we have laid down initially. a challenge to tell where these threads are. But the one that you went over last time, you want to go under this time, because we're weaving a patch into the fabric. And we've got this little nub of thread, part of the break that has come up through our weaving. I've just snipped that off. Now this is going to be thinner than the rest of it here, so we might come back and do another weave diagonally. See here. I keep hearing a little notification ding. See here. There. I'm certainly not a professional at this by any means. I'm simply demonstrating a household skill that's handy to have. If you have a special pair of socks you've worn a hole in and you don't really want to throw them away just yet, you can mend that hole, darn that sock. That's what I'm showing you here. If this were a woven fabric, I'd put a patch on it, but a patch isn't the best option in this particular case. Sometimes it's fun to do a mend like this in a contrasting color, but this time we're going with a coordinating one. Now we can trim that little tiny tail of thread off. You'll want to watch your thread. It'll try to twist up on you, and you want to be sure and straighten those out so that you don't work knots into your work. Alrighty, I'm about ready to tie this off. I'm going to wrap the thread around my needle a few times and then put the needle back in. That will give us an ending knot. Okay, we wrapped the thread around the needle and then put the needle back through the fabric. And now we're going to pull it back through, and that will be our knot. You want to be careful when you pull this through so that you only get the knot you intend and not a big knotted mess on your thread. We could trim that off now. We'll pull the light bulb out. This is an LED bulb, a little bit flat on the top. Now we'll turn it inside out and just take a look. Can't even tell where it is. And we'll turn it right side out again. This sock belongs to my friend who's really cold-natured. She moved to Texas because it was so darn cold where she grew up. That worked out pretty well, I think. Alrighty. That's how I darn socks if I need to.